George is our crew chief. Justin Shamian, John Jenkins Jr., our 3 Big 12 officials, ready to put it in the air, and away we go. It'll be Baylor who controls the opening tip.
And when Baylor, you talked about offensively, they lead the Big 12 in scoring. That has not been the issue. Their 2 losses, though, they kind of got hit in the mouth a little bit. They got pushed out because of the defensive presence and the athleticism, and right on cue there, Carr with a beautiful finish.
Carr is a high flyer, and he has put together an impressive highlight reel of dunks. If this was the Greg Anthony mixtape, he's already got a full season's worth. He's more than just a dunker, though. Excellent player. Southern, they've got a ton of terrific athletes. And, GA, this is kind of the way life is for teams out of the SWAC. They go play on the road. They play in bye games. It funds their entire athletic budget. And for Southern, coming out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this is their 11th road game in the first 14 games they'll play.
It's incredible what they have to go through. But I tell you what, it gets them battle-tested from when SWAC play starts, and they're picked right now to finish 2nd in that league. And you can see Tunde able to knock that deuce down. But this is a group, they returned 7 players from last year where they won the regular season title. So they're not going to be intimidated, especially when you look at Baylor, who doesn't have a ton of size on that front line. So that's, from a matchup standpoint, should work to Southern's benefit.
Joe Manning misses the 3. Battle for the offensive rebound, and ends up in a held ball. Possession arrow belongs to Southern. Southern is led by Kevin Johnson.
Not that Kevin Johnson.
His third, the other, not the mayor,
Kevin Johnson.
the other Kevin Johnson. 21 year last year. He was the SWAC Coach of the Year. This has been one of the powers in the SWAC, Southern, but they have not been to an NCAA tournament in over a decade. They're hoping to change all that this year. Last time they were in the NCAA tournament, which means you got to win your tournament, was 2016. And Southern is on the board as Terrence Dixon knocks down a mid-range jumper.
Yeah, and we talked about it. Southern's a team, they play fast. They're one of the top 30 teams in the country in terms of pace. They're not afraid to get up and down the floor. And that, again, that's going to give them the opportunity, talking with that coaching staff from Baylor, to be competitive here if Baylor is not on their game.
Hagman, the shifty point guard, finds Carr, 3-pointer short. And offensive rebound run down by Dan Skillings. He finds Hagman. 3-pointer no good. Hagman's been shooting it very well this year. He shot it at a 40% clip from beyond the arc. And Baylor, with that very tight 7-man rotation, has been clicking offensively. Embry reigns in a 3-pointer.
Embry has really been playing well, coming off an 18-point game against Cal Baptist. And keep in mind, we're not even talking about Southern's best player, Michael Jacobs, who is supposed to play some, leading them in scoring over 21 a game. They expect him to be able to maybe play half the game tonight as Tunde there on the attack.
You see Mike Jacobs standing up. He is anxious to get in the game. Kevin Johnson, he's told us he's coming off a hip injury, GA. They really want to limit his minutes, but they know when adrenaline takes over and they get him on the floor, he may have a hard time taking him off the floor because he is a big-time scorer.
And to your point, folks, this is a nationally televised game. Southern's not going to have a ton of those, so you know he wants to show up and show out tonight if that hip pointer will cooperate.
Kevin Johnson said, you know, if Greg Anthony's going to be here on a Sunday afternoon, we're going to have to showcase him a little bit. It gets eerily silent for free throws here at Foster Pavilion. And there is one of the all-time great college coaches who turned out one of the all-time great turnarounds in a program in the history of this game. Scott Drew, now in his 23rd season as the head coach here at Baylor. He had 1 year at Valpo, took over for his dad, Homer Drew, at Valpo, and then an amazing resurrection of a program, and now one of the best programs in the Big 12. As Dixon gets to the basket to lay it in.
Yeah, you saw that's an example of Southern. They want to play early in the shot clock. They don't want to allow you to load your defense to the basketball, and they have proven to be a team that's more than capable. Don't let the record fool you, folks. They can compete.
Michael Ratai misses a 3. Embry secures it. Here come Southern. Our good pal Avery Johnson, probably the most famous basketball alumni from Southern, NBA champion. And former coach of the year of the NBA, as a matter of fact. And our colleague for March Madness. And another three-pointer is in, this time from Joe Manning.
Yeah, they can score. And again, they're not going to be uncomfortable playing on the road because in essence, that's all they do to start the season. So this is not something that's going to intimidate them. And I think it'll be a great test for Baylor as they're getting ready for the gauntlet of the Big 12.
Big block there as Yesufu goes to the rim, had it denied. Barnes on the floor for the first time, and that is Amber who misses, but the follow by Dixon. It's a 12-2 Southern run, and they have smacked Baylor in the mouth to start this game. Well, Scott Drew talked about the potential of a trap game, and they're feeling it here in the first 4 minutes, GA.
Southern has come to play. They are not intimidated, and Mr. Dixon likes to say hello.
A home in Waco. Spoke to some people around the NBA who told me that it is not necessarily a surprise to them that he's had a breakout year, and as GA said, maybe the most improved player in the country. One of the things that Carr worked on is his consistency, let the game come to him, find the proper flow. But guys, he is using it as fuel and has a major chip on his shoulder entering this season, and is certainly performing at a high level.
And on cue here, Jared fires up a three and knocks it in.
Yeah, it was a beautiful. Jared, you hit it on the head. You love guys that when they face adversity, they don't wilt, they respond. And that's what he's done thus far this season. He has been really the most impressive player on their squad. That's saying a lot. This Baylor team, a lot of unknowns because of so many new pieces. You get a foul down on the baseline. But he has been terrific, under control, plays with high intensity. And again, only a sophomore. So this is a young man that may find himself leaving because of how well he's performed, but he's still got a lot of upside in that frame.
Had a thumb injury at Tennessee as well, and as Jared mentioned, buried on the bench for Rick Barnes. Very talented roster. And he's making a name for himself now. Everybody knows who he is. That is Malik Abdelgowad. First minutes on the floor for him.
I was waiting on you to say that name.
That's going to be
impressive.
Right on your wheelhouse all game long, GA. And to the rack, Caden Powell, the Waco native.
And how about the response by Baylor after that timeout by Coach Drew? Williams able to get to the rim and attack. Again, Southern not a big team. And so if you're Baylor, where size is a concern of yours as well, this is a matchup where you should be able to exploit the interior.
Jacobs fires it cross court to Ambry, gives it up. Good ball movement here. And Jacobs for three. That's another one that's true.
And what did you like about Southern? They are a good basketball team. That possession is a perfect example of that. They passed up good shots for a great shot, and they're going to force a turnover there. Jacobs has made his presence felt here right away. And again, we talk about the key to success at this level, shot quality. And look at that beautiful job off that pick and roll. No weak side rotation when you're playing in that zone. Isaac Williams, the fourth, they're able to deliver the dagger.
In the corner, that hit the side of the backboard. Southern has 4 assists on their first 6 field goals made. They're sharing it well. Baylor finds themselves down 4 early. Southern, they play a hard-hitting schedule, GA. They are a team that is willing to go anywhere and play against some of the best teams. They have Illinois coming up next before they start into conference play.
And you see, look at some of the teams, Arkansas, Texas. That Cal Baptist team is really good, and all those ats. But it prepares you for league play, and Coach Johnson was a little disappointed. They were only picked to finish second in their league, and he says this guy's got a lot to prove this upcoming conference season.
And Powell getting free once again. Caden Powell, 6'9", senior, started at Wyoming, then to Rice, but he's from Waco, went to Midway High School, and playing for his hometown team in his senior year, and he's had a couple of buckets at the paint early. 2-point game, Southern in front. Abdelgowad always looking to score, and he does score. Nice looking jumper from Malik Abdelgowad. Go ahead, GA.
Abdelgowad is a guy that has not met a shot he does not like, as his coach aptly put it. So they're going to want him to be aggressive offensively if they want to pull off the upset here on the road.
And we asked Kevin Johnson, what kind of passer is Abdelgowad? He goes, Yeah, he's always looking for a shot.
What is it? I don't know yet. We're still waiting to figure that part out.
Hey, come get it when you can. Have to go at a transfer from UMass, started at Murray State. We had a good chat earlier today with Kevin Johnson, now in his 3rd year. Tough break for them last year. They won the SWAC regular season. Kevin was the coach of the year, but then they got upset in the SWAC tournament. It's a one big league, GA. You don't win that tournament, you don't make it to the big dance, and that stung them last year. And that's a foul as Caden Powell got the tip and was pushed. And he'll go to the line. Abdelgoad picks up the foul. Should be 2 shots. Let's see if they saw it that way. Officials looking at one another. And looks like baseline out of bounds.
Yeah. They're going to say he didn't have control on that tip, and that is the right call. Coach Drew. I don't know if there's a more optimistic human being on the planet than Coach Scott Drew. If they get the juice to go there. He is just full of energy and positivity, and he practices with his team in the same mindset.
Abdelgoad, jump stop, misses it. You see P.J. DeBoule on the floor. He's coming back as well. Southern very excited to get him back. Just had a block last possession. Carr, beautiful stroke. He's got a great 3-point shot. Along with all the highlight reel dunks, he can fill it up from beyond the arc. He hits another 3.
And I think that's one of the things that the next level the pro scouts are looking at is the fact that he's a guy that's such a great shooter, but he can also play at all 3 levels. They're a beautiful attack, and he'll get himself to the line.
Carr, a 44% 3-point shooter and a great attacker of the rim. He'll go to the line to shoot a pair here.
And I love this too, because, you know, he gets the catch. He doesn't quite have it to release it, but has the poise and the patience to take that little dribble to get his rhythm. And there you saw him coast to coast on the attack. Didn't finish, but able to get to the line. Really been impressed in what I've seen of him thus far.
Send it over to Jared.
BA, we were at shoot-around early this morning for Baylor. It started at 8:30 local time. Scott Drew's message to his team was don't start Christmas break before today's game. He said this is a dangerous situation, not just the opponent, not just the time of day, but the fact that many players are flying home after this game today. He wanted to make sure his team focused and took care of business and didn't get ahead of themselves. But it wasn't just the players. Scott Drew had a message for the fans. He instructed Baylor Bears Nation to go to church early this morning. Get some caffeine in you. And it's a letdown, he said, if the players walk out of the locker room to an empty gym. He said, we feed off of a loud gym.
Yeah, that, and the students are our way. Obviously, finals are over, as you mentioned, Jared. So this is, and that's kind of the idea. Coaches hate these games. Yeah. They need these games, but it's risky because a loss today to a team like Southern, it's one that hurts, and it could affect you as far as your rankings and where you sit when it comes NCAA selection time. So all of that in place. This is when you see coaches do some of their best psychological work with their players.
No question, BA. And it is. And you couple that with the fact that Southern is a team, you look at their record and you're like thinking they're not very good, as Michael Jacobs shows you why he's leading the SWAC in scoring and assists. He knocked down that mid-range, but you know they're much better than their record, and so you're going to have to make sure you bring it today if you're Baylor and not get caught as you get ready for that big shot.
Corner 3 by Yesufu.
I love Yesufu's game. You know, he just has that kind of motor that can elevate his teammates, and I think though Baylor hasn't been great defensively here early, he's the guy that can elevate them on that side of the ball.
Well, Southern giving Baylor all they want, but Baylor went on a 7-0 run. They lead at 23-19. Good to have Mike Jacobs back for Southern. He's their best player, and he's getting it going early. And then Yesufu answers with a 3. Timeout on the floor here in Waco. In the NBA Finals in '99 to win it for the Spurs over the Knicks.
And still an integral part of their program. And talking with Kevin Johnson before the game, he still stays in tune. There is one guy that we did mention. That's the great Bob Love.
Yeah, Bob Love
probably should be in the Hall of Fame. He's an incredible player, incredible career, both at Southern and in the NBA with the Chicago Bulls. But Southern, they've got some pedigree. There's no question about that.
Ashton McGee at the line for Southern. How about Kevin Johnson has already played 11 guys in this game. 1 out of 2 at the line. It's a 3-point Baylor lead. Southern came out of the blocks quick first 4 minutes. Now Yesufu explosive to the rim. He's got a lot of Anthony Edwards in his game, and Yesufu will go to the line to shoot a pair.
Yeah, that's been one of the comps that people have of Tunde Yesufu. And you see here, Southern giving them a different look, little 1-2-2 zone, but you want to be in attack mode. They're changing the defenses, Southern is, to try to make you think a little bit and figure out how you want to attack, but not a question for this young fella who stays in attack mode.
Yesufu coming into play tonight, averaging 17.6 a game and nearly 6 rebounds. Sometimes Christmas is about getting what you really want. Nothing better than TNT on Christmas. 24 hours of Christmas story. Starting Christmas Eve at 9 p.m. Eastern. Part of the Christmas Maximus on TNT. Fragile. G.A. Fragile. 1 out of 2 at the line for Tunde Yesufu. Playing in front of his mother once again today. Also his roomie here in Waco. From West Africa to California to Waco. Family affair. On the drive, pulling it back is Jacobs. Ball's going to be in his hand a lot. He's running with the bench players now. Damari Jones rises up. High flyer, no. Dixon kept it alive, and that's going to be a foul on Terrence Dixon as he wrestles Michael Ratai to the floor. 16 foul for Southern. Southern next one will put Baylor at the line the rest of the half.
Yeah, you can see just he's bouncy is Dixon, but a good job by Ratai. They're trying to hold him off, and that's an area too. If you're Baylor, they're going to have to improve on the defensive rebound.
Yesufu drives it, hangs and scores. Oh, the body control of Tunde Yesufu.
He spends a lot of his time, folks, playing downhill. He is in attack mode at all times. You have got to be aware of him when he has the basketball.
Jacobs missed the last 2 games with a hip injury. His first game back, limited minutes perhaps. Long 3 flies, no good. And that's going to be a foul on Southern, but no, it's going to stay here.
I think they got Ratai there.
They did. Ratai picks up the foul.
Look at the hang time, the elevation, the body control there. Yesufu says, yes, I can on that finish.
Tunde Yesufu, one of the great freshmen in the country. It's a world-class freshman group this year in college basketball. We showcased A.J. DeBonta at BYU on Friday. What a show he put on. Career high in points, had a couple of highlight reel dunks. This Big 12 is loaded with great freshmen. 3-pointer flies and is down for Cam Embry.
Good as Cam Embry coming off that game. He was 5 of 10 from 3 against Cal Baptist in their last game. He's already knocked down a couple here for the Jaguars.
Skilling's looking inside for Carr. Carr got the mismatch with Jacobs. That'll be a foul on Jacobs, and that's going to put Baylor at the line the rest of this half. So we're going to see a ton of free throws here in the last 10 minutes and 17 seconds. There was one concern for Kevin Johnson. One of the main reasons he is playing so many players here, an opportunity to get them on the floor in a Big 12 venue, but he kind of needs all the fouls he can get right now.
Especially on the road, right? Yeah, I will say that I've been really impressed with how Southern plays the game. You know, they're not a team that feels overwhelmed. They're playing with great confidence, and I think this is going to be a challenge for Baylor. Can we sustain the intensity necessary to create some distance and not allow a team like Southern, who is not uncomfortable scoring the basketball or playing fast, to hang around and pull off the upset?
Baylor played on this floor Friday, beat Alcorn State 113 to 56. It was a no contest. Embry shot fake, gets Carr in the air, missed a 3, and Yesufu runs it down. They push it. Agman, the point guard. Yesufu resets. He's got a long-distance three-pointer. Ratai offensive rebound. And that sets up Skillings. Just went over the 1,000-point scoring mark. Was honored before the game. Skillings will head to the line.
And then defensively, it's so hard to get matched up when you give up offensive rebounds. And that's the issue right now for Southern. Already in the penalties, literally a half of the half left to go. Kevin Johnson's got to be concerned about whether or not they can keep this Baylor team off the free throw line.
Two players with 2 fouls apiece in Jones and Agbogowan, and unable to hit on the front end. Here comes Southern. They're down 5, and that's going to be a block. Fouls on Baylor as Jacobs with a burst to the basket. And that will belong to Dan Skillings.
This Jacobs here is great leverage. Watch how low he stays on this spin. Just could not quite get the ball off, but able to get himself to the free throw line. This young man has a great ability to score at all 3 levels.
And he's part of the story for Southern. They've been able to retain so many players. 7 players return as he knocks in the first. And we remind you, today's coverage on TNT of college basketball, the Big 12, presented by Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today. Michael Jacobs certainly had plenty of opportunities to go elsewhere. He was much talked about, never even entered the portal to transfer. He likes his time in Baton Rouge. He loves the program. He knows he's one of the top players. Ball's going to be in his hands quite a bit. And he decided to say it is rare in college basketball that a program would have 7 returning players right now.
And Coach Johnson talked about, said he's loyal. You know, he did the same thing in Washington State. He finished in 1 year. He could have left. He wanted to honor the commitment and has really carried on that same mindset here for Southern.
Ratai makes it a 5-point Baylor lead. And again, it's Jacobs turned away. Carr defending him now. Ambry has knocked in a couple of threes. We go under the 9-minute mark. Ambry, little crossover, gets to the basket. Oh, denied. That was Yesufu. Right there's Dixon. That's a block. Yesufu got that one too, I think. Here's Agbam. Carr passes up a 3, drives. Oh, he missed a highlight reel dunk. It was a miss, but it was impressive.
He did a travel.
Ratai turns it over.
I didn't think he had any intention of trying to dunk that. When he cocked it back from where he was, I said, whoa, oh my goodness.
Oh, and it was close.
It was.
And he kind of needed to do it.
Yeah.
Because of the active hands by Southern defensively. Carr is some kind of highlight show.
And keep in mind, we talked about it at the top. Baylor, not a deep team. They typically are only going to play 7, so fatigue could always be an issue, as well as the concern about foul trouble.
3-pointer, air ball. Dixon with an offensive rebound. He's having a good start to this game. Terrence Dixon comes up short. Baylor is without J.J. White, still out with a foot injury. He's in a boot still for the Bears. Backup point guard can play the 2. Rehabbed the game in Vegas in the Players era in which he was injured. Has not been able to return. 3-pointer is good for Obi Agbon.
Nice shot there. But also a nice job of facilitating there by Carr on the attack. Delivered a beautiful scoring pass there for the triple.
Biggest lead for Baylor. Southern jumped out of the blocks, had a quick 6-point lead at the first timeout. The first 4 minutes into this game. Baylor has responded since. Barnes, pull up, awkward shot, missed it. Agba with a rebound. Here come the Bears. Baylor will have one more tune-up before Big 12 play. They've got Arlington Baptist here on the 29th next week. 3-pointer and the follow. Powell gets his own. Couple of offensive rebounds, sets up Carr from his spot. No good. And last touch by Ratai. That'll be Southern ball, and that'll take us to a timeout. So Baylor has opened up their biggest lead, and it is the point guard, Obi Agbaum, who gets into the mix.
Yeah, not known as a scorer, but he can knock down the triple. 40% on the season. Baylor
In front of us here today for the Baylor Bears. He's got 12 already. He's knocked in 2 threes, one of the top scorers. A.J. DeBonta has put together one of the greatest 5-game stretches we've seen in college basketball in the last 30 years. And he's coming off his career-high 35. Been fun to watch. He's averaging nearly 27 a game, DeBonta. So the Big 12 will be very entertaining this season. There are 4 Big 12 teams in the top 10. Arizona's number 1, Iowa State, Houston, and BYU. It's the catch radius. Is that how we say it in football?
Yeah. No,
the fact he went in the air. Look at the reaction in the background, the BYU social media. She's like, that was everybody's reaction.
She hadn't seen anything like that before. There's no question about that. And you got to see him up close and personal. And I was impressed when you talked about his work ethic and how he goes about his business, even on a game day. Oh, that's impressive.
Yep, he has all the extra work to prepare potentially as the first pick in the draft. Here is Ratai driving, missing, and ball's loose. Powell grinding under the basket and able to secure the possession. Great effort by Caden Powell.
And that's exactly, if you're Scott Drew, you want to see more being relentless at attacking the basketball. First, it starts with him coming up with the block shot there, able to corral possession, and then not giving up. Caden Powell able to come up with the deflection and get Baylor possession here.
Right off the knee of Terrence Dixon. Officials are going to go to the monitor here. Coach's challenge.
The call on the floor is Baylor basketball. That call is being challenged. Play is under review.
So Kevin Johnson wants to challenge this call here. I think I had it off Dixon's knee.
Unless it hit his head, couldn't tell from that angle if it hit Powell's head once he's out of bounds. Right there. No, I don't think so, though. I think that's when he's probably going to lose. That's a great angle there. I didn't see any hair move, partner. The ball didn't change direction there.
New rule in college basketball this year. Coaches get a challenge. Similar to the NBA. The biggest difference, though, you can't challenge foul calls. And, of course, you get a challenge. If you're successful, you get one more. Most coaches are saving.
The call on the floor has been confirmed. It is Baylor basketball. Southern will be assessed a 30-second timeout, and they have lost the ability to challenge for the remainder of the game.
That was the voice of Darren George, the crew chief. So you use your challenge. Didn't work out in your favor, and he won't have the opportunity another one. I think if you're Kevin Johnson, you're thinking this is kind of the moment of the game. You're either going to hang in there here in the back half of the first half or not. So good use of it, I guess.
It is a danger zone right now for Southern. Down 8, momentum clearly with Baylor as they're starting to impose their will, and your best offensive player is on the bench.
Tunde Yesufu, that line drive three-pointer, no good. Here comes Southern. This is Joe Manning, who got another start here today. Manning looking inside. Dixon with Yesufu on him, rises up over him and missed it. There's Carr with a rebound.
And they've had some opportunities, Southern, right at the rim that they have just not been able to convert.
Yesufu throws it into the third row. And a turnover, Baylor, as we send it over to Jared.
Well, as you mentioned, Yesufu's mom in attendance here today. She has been in Waco since late October. Yesufu has a 2-bedroom off-campus apartment. He said it's been amazing rooming with his mom. He hasn't seen her for an extended period of time in over a year. He said now he doesn't need to worry about food, no distractions, just focused on basketball. He said there's a certain peace of mind about having his mom live with him and being able to just lock in on hoops.
There she is, Bertrand, from Western Africa to Waco.
Yeah,
and you know she's seen some things.
That's quite the journey.
It's got to be pretty settling. I mean, he looks mature. He's a grown man, but he's still a freshman. And having mama in tow certainly helps him. He's got a chance to be a very high pick in the NBA draft. So it might be around for 1 year here at Baylor. Southern just turned it over, their first turnover of the day. Southern has missed their last 8 shots as Ratai, and that is blocked by Dixon. And now Southern in transition. Embry pulls it back. Baylor gets back nicely. Approaching the 5-minute mark of this first half. Jacobs watching his minutes closely. Now back-to-back turnovers for Southern. Yesufu gets it to his point guard.
Yesufu did a great job of baiting that post-entry pass there to come up with the steal.
Carr working out of the center of the wagon wheel. A little bit of a disruptive set here, but Carr springs free. 3-pointer short. There's Jacobs with a rebound. Up ahead, Barnes taking on Carr, and Barnes can't finish it. Athletic move to the basket. It'll stay on this side of the floor for Southern.
And BA, one thing I've been impressed with Baylor, they've done a really good job with their transition defense, and really hard to do, especially when you're trying to attack the offensive glass here. But I love the contest by Carr. Comes up with the block. They don't get possession, but they don't give up that easy deuce right now. As Southern having a drought here, struggling to get the ball in the basket.
Southern has missed 8 in a row. A nice bounce pass, extra pass, and a hammer by Dixon. Set up beautifully by Mike Jacobs.
Yeah, that's one way you can finish, is to get an contested dunk there off a beautiful feed. Give Southern, he was only down basically 2 possessions here in the first half.
Well, Southern went 6 minutes without a made field goal. And here they are, down 6, under 4 in this first half. Jacobs almost traveled. Embry guarded by Carr, lost the handle. Was going up for a shot, and it slipped out of his hands.
Haven't done a great job the first 16 minutes taking care of the basketball. Southern. That's 2 turnovers the last 3 possessions.
Ball control for Baylor. Short rotation. This is a high-powered offense here. They lead the Big 12 in scoring. Baylor coming in, averaging over 91 a game. Late clock, down to 3. Agbum in traffic. Jacobs got a handle on that, got to put it up, got it off in time. And Ratai lost it out of bounds. It'll be Southern ball. Timeout on the floor. 33-27. Baylor in front, but Southern playing well on this Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, their best player, Michael Jacobs. We talked about his ability to score, but he's also a facilitator, and Southern hanging in there here on the road in Waco.
TCU, but they've got, in the January alone, they've got Iowa State, Houston, Kansas on the road, and then Texas Tech. That is their run in January.
That could be your season. You get through that stretch 3-2. I mean, you've got to feel great about your prospects for the NCAAs, but you can't have let up though, because that schedule is not like it's going to get a lot easier.
Jacobs puts up a prayer but draws the foul. Isaac Williams got a hand on him on a 3-point try with a shot clock winding down. That'll be 3 free throws here for Mike Jacobs.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure. Yeah, he was behind the line there. Good call, BA. And again, he's so crafty. And you know, he's got tremendous leverage. Such a strong player. And really good at creating space for his jumper.
Jacobs coming off the bench, protecting that injured hip. Normally a starter, normally their best player. And Jacobs now has 8. Hey, get ready for outdoor hockey in Florida, in GA's home state. Discover NHL Winter Classic. Miami and the Rangers. In Miami as the Rangers battle the Panthers, I beg your pardon.
Stanley Cup defending champion.
There you go.
Please. Thank you.
All of a sudden, GA's big hockey guy. Well, January 2nd, 7 on TNT.
I'm a fan of winning, partner. You know, if you're winning, I like you.
So that'll be a lot of fun on TNT. Rangers, by the way, have the 2nd best road record in the NHL if you want some.
And I am a Ranger fan, having spent many a year playing for the Knicks, living in New York. Was there when they won the Cup back in '94.
But all it takes if you're the Florida Panthers to get Greg Anthony on your side is win back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
I was there after the first one. I just decided to stay a little longer when they won it again.
Here's Carr now. Final 2.5 of this first half. Yesufu, Jacobs on him. Yesufu surrounded. Good defense there by Southern. That was Barnes closing in.
You look up. This is a 4-point game. Southern, we talked about it, and the Baylor coaching staff acknowledged it. This is a team that is not afraid to compete.
Up ahead in transition. Ratai, nice feed from Agbam. Baylor up 6 as we go into 2 minutes. Inside, Terrence Dixon got Ratai on him. Dixon in the paint, turnaround, and Ratai with a rebound.
Good defensive possession there by Ratai. Holding his position. Fadeaway there.
Yesufu short, got his own. Yesufu fouled, and 2 free throws for Yesufu.
Take a look in transition. Baylor, they haven't been there a ton tonight, but when they've gotten there, Edwin there with a nice find of a 2 for the deuce. And both teams that like to get up and down the floor, BA, that there hasn't been a ton of transition or open floor play. Both teams with a great emphasis on their defense.
Baylor desperately needed that transition bucket. They had gone nearly 6 minutes without a field goal. They lead it by 6. Yesufu knocks in the first. Over to Jared.
Well, B.A., you mentioned A.J. DeBonsa at the top of this freshman class, and it's an interesting point that Coach Scott Drew made to me this morning about Yesufu. In a freshman class that is so highly decorated and so deep, the key to most of those players that we talk about is their offense, their ability to score. And what stands out for Yesufu is he might be the best defender in this freshman class. I spoke to an NBA scout last night who just said he is just a man among boys because he plays so hard, and he has the tools, the scout told me, to be an unbelievable defender who can guard multiple positions at the next level. He certainly stands out because his energy, too, is off the charts. Guys, he told me this morning, Yesufu wants to be, his goal this year is to be the National Defensive Player of the Year.
Gary, that's a great play, and the reality is, and it's a compliment to him, is the guy's getting almost 18 a night. His defense really is going to be his calling card at the next level. I think that's where he's going to be able to earn his minutes. Even though he can score it, I don't think that's really the makeup of who he is. It's really about what he can do with his activity, particularly on the defensive side.
Ratai hadn't established inbounds prior to that catch, and it'll be Southern ball. Big 12 freshman right now. It's DeBonsa at 22 plus per game. Yesufu is one of 9 freshmen to average over 17 points per game. We have never seen a freshman class like this in the college game. As Southern out of bounds, getting a dunk from A.J. Barnes.
I mean, there's just so many incredibly gifted freshmen in the country this year. Caleb Wilson, guy we haven't even talked about at Carolina. This is an impressive road win at Ohio State yesterday. So much talent. I'm going to talk about it. A guy like Cooper Flattery, who was so held a year ago, they were able to knock down that triple. Where will he go in this year in this upcoming draft?
Good question. Biggest lead for Baylor. They have responded. Southern got it to a 1-possession game, and Baylor now up 9. Final possession of the first half. Southern has showed well on this Sunday afternoon. Ambry finds Barnes. Step back 3 on its way, and no good. He had a good look at it. And Southern will go to the halftime locker room down 9. Baylor with a little push at the end of the first.
We were attacking the rim, which got us in the bonus, and then as soon as we got to the bonus, we started to settle for threes. We need to continue to attack and not settle. In terms of Kevin Johnson from Southern, he said, when we're dribbling a lot, we're not playing right. As far as Jacobs goes, Coach told me he feels good. We'll get at least 10 minutes of him. He continues to come off the bench to start the half.
Nice, thanks, Jared. Good stuff there. And they're right on target with Michael Jacobs. He played 9 minutes in the first half. He is their best player that's been out for 2 games with a hip injury. So he's coming off the bench here so they can watch those minutes. Southern got off to a great start. They led by 6 after the first 4 minutes of this game. Baylor had a strong finish to the first half. This is not known as a defensive-minded team, Baylor, and yet during the halftime warm-ups, most of the time, Greg, you see players out doing their thing, getting their shots up, their free throws. As Agbam hits a three-pointer, Baylor was in full uni in a set zone defense, working on a zone defense. So we'll see if they break it out here in the second half.
And BA, typically that means that the coach was not happy with the effort. As you know that if that's something they're going to utilize, they have put in some time in practice already.
Jones fouled his miss. Can't secure it. Here comes Baylor now in transition, and Yesufu is fouled. So Yesufu will go to the free throw line. What an explosive player he is. Talk about a guy who's Big 12 body ready. Let's see where the KenPom numbers are. Obviously, Baylor in a short rotation. They're still missing J.J. White. That'll give them an 8-man rotation. White's been out with a foot injury. He's still in a boot, but he'll be back. They're confident that he will return. They're going to have to score.
Yeah. As
the guys talked about in the studio, they know they're going to have to be a team that averages 80+ in conference play, which is not easy when you get into the Big 12.
No, it won't be easy, but it's also going to be important for them to continue to improve from a defensive standpoint if they want to be in the top tier of that Big 12.
Dr. Greenberg with a medical report.
Yeah, this is not good here. Jocelyn Bodu, he's dealing with that arm injury, and it's unclear if he'll be able to play this season. You mentioned J.J. White with the right foot injury. He should return sometime. Michael Perez tore his ACL before the season, obviously will not play. Scott Drew has said, guys, in press conferences that they are hoping to be able to add somebody mid-season. An interesting quirk in the rules, and we'll see what that could add to this roster. They certainly could use some depth up front. But guys, right now, Baylor is the only team in the country, the only team with 5 guys averaging at least 29 minutes per game.
Big minutes, high volume scoring, good three-point shooting team. The benefit of that, GA, I would imagine, when you have a short rotation, these guys are really playing well together. You see plays like that, lobs like that, that sets you up. Great pass by Skillings. And the finish by Carr. You do get a lot of continuity when your rotations are short.
BA, no question about that. The one concern, though, is conference play tends to bring a lot of adversity. Guys getting in early foul trouble. And when you've not had the luxury of depth, that can create some problems, because then the opposite happens when you're going to have guys asked to do things that they haven't been asked to do all season. That could have an impact on that continuity in conference play.
Foul's going to be on Damari Jones. That'll be his 3rd. Skillings, he actually lost the handle, and Dixon got the block, but Jones with the foul prior to. A lot of body contact there. There are a lot of names right now, GA, swirling around. There's a lot of discussion about players who are either being under review by the NCAA as far as eligibility concerns. It's a lot of international players. BYU just announced that Abdullah Ahmed, who's a former G League center, is going to be eligible. He will play for BYU. There are a number of those players that are kind of swirling around the rumor mill that could be available. And I do wonder if that's what Scott Drew is alluding to, because there are a lot of players that programs are targeting to try to get them on campus and in the program and eligible for the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's going to, we are definitely entering into some uncharted territories when you think about the NCAA. You're not used to having midseason acquisitions, right? And especially impactful ones, but that could be the case. And BYU is a matter of the rich getting richer, as they're going to add to already a top 10 team there. You can see clearly some contact up above the shoulders there. That's going to send Southern to the line there, Damari Jones.
Jones knocks in the first. Jones got himself into foul trouble in that first half. He is a high flyer, outstanding athlete. He has designs on becoming an NBA GM. And the way the college game is going, you might open up to be a collegiate GM as well.
It's a great call because in a lot of ways, you're going to be doing some of the same things that they do at the professional level now with the advent of European professional players coming over, G League players now being allowed, if they have eligibility, to participate in Division I basketball. So it has really opened up a Pandora's box, if you will, in terms of the landscape of collegiate athletics.
There's never been more talent in the college game. Everywhere you're seeing, and the great freshman class kind of proves that out, but it's not just a great freshman class. Talent everywhere. Emery misses a three-pointer. He knocked in a couple of threes in the first half. Here comes Baylor. They lead at 48-33, trying to put the hammer down and take care of business here in their last game before Christmas. They'll come back after Christmas, one more non-conference game before they start Big 12 plays. Yesufu, so strong. The catch, the turn, and the finish with some contact, it looked like.
And no doubt, and I like the recognition by Ratai there, though, to see that they had the mismatch down low and able to give a pass that only Yesufu could get for the conversion.
The lead has ballooned to 17 now for Baylor. Here's Jacobs. He's a scorer. He got Southern back in the game in the first half. There's Skillings with a rebound. Skillings pushes, bounce pass, Ratai, and he's fouled. Excellent in transition, and free throws coming.
You're starting to see Baylor now turning that defense into offense here, and you see this. I like the fact that he put it up where the defender had no chance to make a play on the basketball. And Yesufu just so strong, so gifted physically there. Nice soft touch with the finish.
Baylor's been one of the great programs in the Big 12 as the first one's down. Don't forget, you can cheer on your favorite Big 12 teams with officially licensed fan gear. For the best selection of team apparel and accessories, head to shopncaasports.com today. GA Baylor, one of these programs that not only has great success in March Madness, but they produce NBA players, and they get a lot of attention because of that. Either players who want to come in from the portal or players coming from the high school ranks. 5 consecutive years Baylor has had at least a top 20 pick in the NBA draft. 5 straight years.
Yeah, I mean, they've built, Scott Drew has just done an incredible job of building a consistent winning program here and developing some NBA level talent. VJ Edgecombe next in that great list. You can see he's having a terrific run. 3rd overall pick by the Sixers this past NBA draft, having a phenomenal rookie year. And this class, this team should be no different. 2 guys that are very likely to be first rounders if they choose to come out.
Carr and Yesufu. Here's Agbum now, and he knocks it in. That's a three-pointer for the point guard. Agbum has hit his 4th three.
He's a guy that can shoot that catch and shoot threes. Shooting 40% on the season coming in. But he has just been a terrific, impactful player at that lead guard position for Coach Drew.
We saw Baylor at the Players Era tournament in Las Vegas. Agbum with a steal, and they are an interesting mix of players. As Skillings, he lost the handle. He was going up for the dunk, and the ball slipped out of his hands. Missed an opportunity to highlight right there. Inside, and laying it in is Abdul-Goan.
I will say this start of the second half here for Baylor, some of the best basketball defensively we've seen from them this season. They have really been active, and then converting that in transition, getting out in the open floor to create some separation.
Now they're up 20. Skillings puts them up 23. Dan Skillings, he is a shooter that has not shot it well so far this year, but there are high expectations that his shot will come around. He's only shooting at 23% from 3, but they're encouraging him to keep shooting, find that stroke. Skillings leading the transition here, leaving it up top, too tall for Carr. Even the high flyer Cameron Carr couldn't get to that one. And a timeout on the floor. Baylor just jumping out of the second half gates here. Went on an 18-2 run. They have pushed this ENT Sports little pre-Christmas treat. From Waco, Texas, the great state of Texas. You know, I grew up about an hour from here.
Yeah.
My home territory. We have you over to the crib next time.
I would love that. Not a bad place to be from, too. Great state of Texas.
We play golf at Christmas here in Texas. Here's Skillings. Oh, he hits another three. Back-to-back corner threes for Dan Skillings.
And whatever they did at halftime, Baylor, it worked, right? They have come out.
Both ends.
And been lights out on both ends, as you mentioned there. Nice pass from Jacobs there to get that deuce. But Southern being overwhelmed a little bit. They were so good. First 14.5 minutes of this game, they did not turn it over. The last 10.5, 8 turnovers. So they have really struggled against Baylor's intensity defensively.
Boy, Skillings just taking over right now. Gets to the basket. Yetsufu comes away with a loose ball. He cans a three. And they are falling now from beyond the arc for Baylor. This is their 11th made three. They have shot 50% from beyond the arc.
Yeah, they have been terrific in this game. And what a great way to really kind of get yourself tuned up here for conference play, because the first half maybe not up to Scott Drew's standards in terms of how he wants his team to play, but boy, they responded in kind here in the second.
Scott Drew, now 55 years of age. What a coaching legacy the Drews have. Homer, one of the all-time great guys, and so much success at Valpo, among other stops, but Valpo was where Homer Drew made a name for himself. Scott took over for the 1 year at Valpo, and of course Bryce, who is part of one shining moment lore in March Madness. He is at Grand Canyon, and that Grand Canyon squad has turned into a perennial NCAA tournament team. Scott 3 times has been named Big 12 Coach of the Year. National championship in 2021. That was in the bubble. And that Indianapolis bubble, that was an incredible run. This team has had multiple Sweet 16s, Elite 8s. They have had at least one win in the NCAA tournament since the 2019 season. Abdelgoa knocks it in. Man is not afraid to go to the basket.
No, they could have used a few more of those here to kind of stem the tide, but Baylor now just really clicking on all cylinders on both sides of the ball.
Yetsufu finds his point guard, and Agwin, that's a push from behind from Jacobs. It is interesting how Baylor plays offensively. You are a great point guard, and a lot of times, if you're a good three-point shooting point guard, you've got to dribble into your own threes. Baylor, though, because they have good ball handlers and they have a lot of switchable parts, guys who are comfortable with the ball in their hands, as Skillings goes again. It is interesting that Agwin, the point guard, gets a lot of catch and shoots, and he's shooting over 40% this year from three-point range.
Yeah, and that's kind of the evolution of the game, too, BA, because there's so much more ball movement and so much more versatility. You have many more guys that are capable of making plays here. We get a timeout, and Southern's going to want to talk it over as Baylor and Scott Drew are putting on a show.
Welcome to 2019. There are only 2 other teams that do that, Gonzaga and University of Houston.
Pretty good company to be with, right? Scott Drew has built himself a consistent winner here at Baylor. Still hard to believe he's been here 23 years. That's incredible.
A major renaissance here at Baylor. Never had the kind of success. This was a program that was mired in scandal. All of their players left. Scott Drew sold a vision at the time. Give me 4 years to build. They finally did make it to the NCAA tournament in 08, which was an incredible accomplishment. And then he just blew those doors off because they weren't just happy to make the tournament. They were advancing than they were getting near the top of the Big 12, which has just been dominated by Kansas through the years. And then all of a sudden Baylor's contending for championships in the Big 12. And of course it culminated with that national championship in 2021. But an incredibly successful program under Scott Drew, who's approaching 500 wins now in his collegiate coaching career. Here's Williams, the backup point guard. Nice little turnaround jumper.
Got it clicking throughout this lineup here in this second half. Just a really impressive display that Baylor's put on here to open up this lead.
Baylor has made more field goals than Southern has attempted at this point. There's a turnover. Jacobs with Yesufu on his back and can't get the layup. Yesufu saves it, and now Baylor has numbers. Williams will take it himself and lay it in with a left hand.
That's a really good decision by Williams. You're in the open floor for young players, and if that defender keeps backpedaling, you keep going at him. You don't bail him out by throwing a pass.
Oshodi coming up short. Now the putback. Have to go on. Go ahead, Jay. Anytime you want to throw in there and get an apple go on it, it's good. You're ready for it.
I don't want to upset his parents by butchering his name.
You can call him Malik.
I'm going to go with Malik. I like that. Simple.
From Egypt.
I got this.
Go ahead, take it.
Beautiful finish there.
But how about Powell running interference there, just clearing the way for the easy layup. That's going to be a foul. And it'll be on Williams. 72-43. It is all Baylor. Bringing that Christmas cheer early. Waco.
And their three-point shooting. They came into today 10th in the Big 12, but they've knocked down 10 here thus far in this game. They have shot it wonderfully well. 48% on the field. How about 5 of 6 here in the second half to create this separation? And I tell you what, boy, if they start to improve at that area with how they shoot it from 2, one of the best in the country, boy, this team is going to be an offensive juggernaut come conference play.
Already the top scoring team in the Big 12. As far as KenPom offensive efficiency, Baylor is 3rd in the Big 12. They're 9th in the nation. Offense is going to have to carry them. They're going to try to outscore their opponents. And they're having their way here in the second half against the Jags of Southern out of the SWAC. Jacobs gets himself some room. Jacobs has all kinds of skills.
Yeah, he does. And he's had his struggles here. First game back, dealing with the hip pointer. But you can just see with the way he plays the game that he's going to be a guy that's going to have a great chance to be the SWAC player of the year.
Bethune Cookman is the preseason #1 in the SWAC. Our old friend Reggie Theus.
One of my old idols from UNLV fame.
Ken Carr misses a three-pointer. Gets his own, and Carr blocked from behind with a foul. Didn't give up on the play, Ashton McGee. And it's going to put Carr at the free throw line.
We've talked a lot about Baylor's prowess offensively, but I really think if they're a group, you can see contact coming from behind there against Carr. If they can play with the kind of tenacity and intensity we've seen in this second half defensively, because no matter how good you are offensively, when you're going on the road in some of these hostile environments, you're going to struggle at times to make shots. Can your defense do enough to keep you in games?
Christmas Eve filled with lights and fights. That's right. The all-elite wrestling tradition continues, GA. Don't miss AEW Dynamite on 34th Street, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern on TBS, streaming on HBO Max. Hope you and your family have a great Christmas. Greg, you're on your way to Portland. You're going to be part of a group honored by the Blazers. That's an exciting reunion for you.
Well, it will be. Honoring our 2000 conference final team. Unfortunately, we lost in 7 to the Lakers. We had a great team there. You really felt like that was going to be the year we were able to get it done. It's going to be nice to get back and rekindle some great memories and see some old friends.
Abdelgoa got another one. I think a lot of folks around here, big Spurs fans, especially with Jeremy Sohan with the Spurs. And I think we, on behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank you for your contributions for the Memorial Day Miracle.
Oh, man.
And Sean Elliott. And, of course, Greg was on the other side of that.
Yeah, that was another bitter. And I can't say bittersweet, just a bitter memory. Still one of the great, I will say, Sean, that was one of the great plays really ever in the NBA in terms of the postseason. Jacobs able to knock down that triple. He's trying to find his rhythm. You don't have to call it, but ATM is open 24 hours.
Williams misses out of the corner. It is so great to walk into this new arena, second year in existence. They opened up back half of the 23 season. Then last year was the first full season here at Foster Pavilion. And Greg, we had a chance to go around the facility with Jared. Your son is here. I mean, this place is legitimate, special.
I will tell you this. My 14-year-old's got a chance to be a really good player. He said to me, Dad, I think I want to go to Baylor.
Wow.
Nice. He was sold after seeing the facility.
In 8th grade. But then you look up on the wall and all those NBA players, current NBA players, they've got an incredible run of talent here at Baylor. And obviously this is quite the destination right now. Now they did lose Rob Wright, talented point guard who transferred to BYU, and he's part of that big three for BYU, but they don't lose many players. These are all the great names in the NBA right now. Sohan and the Spurs are an emerging team. VJ Edgecombe is the latest of the great talents, number 3 overall pick last year.
Not many programs in college basketball have more current NBA players than does Baylor. That's impressive. And the fact that Scott Drew has coached all those young men, and you just see it with his energy. It's quite the story here. Jared?
Yeah, guys, obviously VJ Edgecombe, rightfully so, is receiving a lot of attention this year. He's 3rd among rookies in scoring, only behind Con Knipple and Cooper Flag. But it's Keontae George that's having the breakout season. I think many people expected VJ Edgecombe to be really good. Keontae George has got an outside chance to be an all-star this year. 23rd in the NBA in scoring right now, about 24 points per game.
Thank you, Jared. Nice. I mean, you see guys are game ready. That's a putback. I think that's probably what you hear most from the professional levels, coaches, former players like you, GA, scouts. Players who play for Scott Drew, they're ready for the NBA. It's not going to be a surprise for them, the work ethic, typically on the defensive end. Think about Davion Mitchell and what a great defender he was at Baylor. That transitioned immediately to the NBA.
Yeah, you make a great point, BA, and Jared as well. You know, you hear this a lot in football where you say, you know, they run an NBA system. Scott Drew does it a lot of ways, too. That's why they're so efficient year in and year out offensively, because he really preaches ball movement, spacing, understanding how to play without the basketball, which is such an important attribute in today's game. The court is so much bigger now because of the skill set. And if you've got the ball moving and you're spacing and filling the right spots, but you're going to be able to create great looks consistently. And he's got guys that are comfortable making shots.
And a rim run for Jacobs. A little hesitation, the head fake. And Jacobs able to get to the basket. He's stacking them up again, coming off the bench today for Southern. With that hip injury, missing the last 2 games. He's got 18. Williams hangs, and around and down it goes. And 1. Isaac Williams, the 4th, with some body control.
That was an impressive attack, and you talked about it. The body control, going full speed, that 2-foot stop there enables him to gather control of his body and then the wherewithal to be able to take the hit and still finish. Terrific play there by that young man.
All the Bears have scored today. Williams was the last to put a point in the box score. He's got a chance with a free throw here to get to 9. Baylor's top scorer is Yesufu with 19. Carr with 15. There are 4 Bears in double figures, and Williams looks like he's on his way. And all those points coming here in the second half for Isaac Williams.
Yeah, how about they're shooting 62% here in the second half as Baylor. They have just really turned it on offensively.
Damari Jones. Little floater is good. 78-54. Approaching the 8-minute mark. This is all Baylor here in the second half. They jumped out to an 18-4 run to start the second half. It was a 9-point game at the half. And Baylor came out with some intensity and took Southern right out of this game quickly. We've had a great time going around these campuses, and our first year back calling regular season college basketball on TNT. We've been long a part of March Madness, but it's been fun to get on campus, call regular season games through the non-conference. And I think we're all ready for conference play and get some of these rivalries.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, BA. You've been a part of March Madness for a while now, but it's a different dynamic when you go on campus and you get that vibe and the feel, especially when the kids are in session in terms of school. And you talked about that's when conference really picks up. The kids are all back. The arenas are going to be full. The energy, the electricity in the building. There's just not many sporting events better than college basketball. Second half of the season.
Here's Carr. Carr, knife to the basket. Yesufu set him up.
A great job, and that's what we call that secondary transition, where the defense is back, but because you move the ball quickly, you create angles to be able to attack there. Yesufu with the find and Carr with the finish.
Ball switches floor, and around the horn it goes. Good ball movement. Unable to get the three. Baylor pushes. Yesufu lost the handle, and that's going to be Baylor ball. That'll take us to a timeout. Marching our way to the finish line. Baylor in control, tuning it up against Southern before they get into the gauntlet of the Big 12. It's such a big part of college basketball, but especially the faith-based campuses like Baylor. I mean, the service in the community, and they don't just preach it, they get out and do it. And there are a lot of examples of that. We walked in here yesterday, and they had Kirk Franklin gospel music going in the speakers. It was awesome. It was
and it starts with
revival.
Coach Drew, right? Like, that's a big part of his life is faith, and he is proud of it, as he should be, and it speaks to the character of so many of the guys that have put on that Baylor uniform.
Yesufu coming up an offensive rebound, and he knocks in a three-pointer. Yesufu with 24 now.
They continue to shoot lights out from beyond. 44% here from three on 11 makes.
What a second half for Baylor, already at 85 points. This is a team that put 113 on the board against Alcorn State on Friday night, and they're going to continue as the top scoring team in the Big 12. Yesufu at 24, that's his third made three. He's got 9 of his 24 points from the line. He's a shooter, he's a good passer, he attacks the rim, and of course he is one of the better defenders in the Big 12.
And still, he doesn't look like a freshman, right? You know, physically very mature. Jacobs able to get another juice there, but I really feel like it's his motor. And I think as the season progresses, it's really hard to lead when you're a freshman, you know, but I think his play is going to continue to elevate as Carr makes just an acrobatic finish on that baseline drive. How about this dynamic duo they have, though? These two guys, Yesufu and Carr, and they complement one another on the floor. And I tell you, Carr doesn't get a lot of talk, but he gets after it defensively as well, moves his feet well, contests shots. He's got that long, wiry frame. And, he's going to continue to mature physically as well.
Damari Jones just moved him off the block that time. And here goes Skillings now. He drives it, he kicks it. Three-pointer, Carr, good. Another one is down from beyond the arc. Great passing. What a find by Skillings.
Yeah, Skillings has had a solid game for them as well. I mean, how about 21 assists, folks. here on 30 made baskets. That's an impressive stat. We talked about it with Scott Drew. That's something he really emphasizes. Great attack. Anytime you get that attack at the rim, make sure those corners are filled. Carr there delivering with that triple.
Skilling's got 4 assists right now. No turnovers to go along with 11 points and 6 rebounds. And Carr high-stepping on his way back after he knocks down his 3rd three. 22 points for Carr. Yesufu at 24. They lead the way for the Bears, as they usually do. Abdelgoad is fouled.
Abdelgoad has shown his ability when he's gotten opportunities to attack the rim.
What a ride it's been for him. He's from Cairo, Egypt, and he started his collegiate run in the JUCO level at South Plains Community College, ended up at Murray State, and then went to UMass before he finds his way for his last year in the SWAC at Southern. He has some stories to tell. There's so many stories of these players that are in their 4th or 5th college stop. Feels like there has to be some kind of regulation at some point with players and their ability to move like they are. If you're going to sign NIL deals or you're going to sign contracts as Yesufu scores again, it also feels like you ought to be able to or have to sign some sort of contract to stay there. I mean, those who are good enough to go to the NBA, you'll find out fast. You're not going to be able to change NBA teams, so probably the next wave. Abdelgoad scores.
The only concern about that, though, BA, the reality is this, that a lot of times the program may not want to have to honor that extended commitment, because if you get there, you saw it with Carr in Tennessee, maybe it isn't a good fit. Sometimes it's mutually beneficial for a player to be able to go somewhere else. And as you can tell at Tennessee, they seem to have been okay. They've had other guys to fill, and it's giving Carr the opportunity to go and find greener pastures as well.
It is a different landscape in college basketball. It frustrates a lot of folks. But the bottom line is, the true bottom line is, the game is highly skilled. Scoring is way up there right now. The players are more athletic, more skilled. There's a more volume of players, especially with the international wave. So the game itself is great right now.
Yeah, sometimes we spend too much of our energy pointing out to the 10% that's wrong, and we don't focus on the 90% that's right. Go back to last year's Final Four. That was as good as it gets. I mean, you had incredible performances, unbelievable championship game, the semifinal. Like, the tournament was spectacular, and you're finding it out this year. Look at the depth we have in college basketball. So many more teams, I feel, have an opportunity to win it. And if he misses this one,
the cupcakes,
the Baylor faithful are going to be getting cupcakes. Have you had these cupcakes
I have not, but
the fans seem to really like it.
We've had everything else since we've been here.
The fried chicken's been pretty good.
We have crushed barbecue, Tex-Mex, and a cupcake is on the line. Jacobs. Oh, cupcakes for everyone.
I don't know if the crowd's been any louder than at that moment.
This crowd's going to be enjoying a doubleheader today here at Foster Pavilion. As Skillings hits another from his favorite corner. That's his 3rd made 3. And Skillings with 14 now.
Yeah, from a defensive standpoint, the one thing you tend to want to take away are corner threes. So Southern just right now defensively, they seem to have somewhat succumbed here and not being as disciplined as Coach Kevin Johnson.
Carr with a block. Yesufu in the open court for the calm, collected, two-footed, two-handed jam.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure, especially in a 37-point game, no reason to be on Shaq to the pool, right?
All right, GA, go find us some cupcakes. Foster Pavilion is loud. Their Baylor Bears are rolling on their way to a 9-2 start to the new season. We're looking at Tunde Yesufu putting up a big number today. 28 points, 8 rebounds, He has 6 assists in the game as well. He's doing all of that in 29 minutes.
Yeah, I just love the will with which the young man competes. He is fiery when he's on the floor. And how about this? The 3rd time this season that both Yesufu and Carr have scored at least 20 points. We talked about that dynamic duo. They've combined tonight for 50. And Yesufu would have had a chance possibly at a triple-double had this thing not gotten out of control. He has impacted the entire stat sheet.
Drew Perry getting some playing time here for Baylor, as is Will Kuykendall. Coming off the back of that bench, out of the rowboat, and Abdul-Gawad found the mismatch and able to score on Drew Perry.
I am starting to get really excited for conference play, especially in this Big 12. It's just there's so much depth. I heard Andy Katz talking about this earlier.
Will
Kuykendall knocking down the triple as the momentum continues. And Jared, you got some info on Mr.
You got a Will Kuykendall report, Jared?
After this missed bucket there by Southern, Will Kuykendall has become like a real brother with Tunde Yesufu. Look at this, on cue, knocking down another 3.
Keep going.
Kuykendall, high school teammates at St. Joseph's in Santa Maria, California, helped Tunde learn English, and Tunde eventually moved in with his family when Kuykendall left for college, and he ended up living with the Kuykendalls for 2 years. Will initially went to Arizona, then found a fit here at Baylor, and it's been real comforting for Yesufu.
Love it. That's good reporting right there, Jared. Yeah. Great friends, and not only does Yesufu have his mom here, but obviously Kuykendall, who's a California native, where Yesufu ended up coming from Western Africa to California. You get an idea how beloved these guys are on the back of that bench by the way they're reacting to Kuykendall's 2 threes.
And it tells you, too, because those guys that are playing all the minutes, they appreciate the impact and the work ethic of the guys that aren't on the floor as much. And they love to see them do well. I remember even back when we loved it when I walk-ons and the guys that didn't get to play a whole lot got to get in and perform, because they oftentimes do have a thankless job when you're at practice basically being a guinea pig.
Missed them both, did Carr. Yeah, what a throw for.
Do they get cupcakes if you miss both? I didn't see.
Nah, not when the home team does.
Oh, okay.
But we'll snag a couple of extras. Under 2 minutes to go. And Baylor ready to put this one away here as Abdul-Gawad. Offensive rebound, Barnes puts it in. Well, we've enjoyed our time here in Waco. Got a great staff here, sports information department.
As good as anybody in the country. Really.
Yeah, David Kay and Josie Hutton, they do a great job, and we appreciate the hospitality.
Got to have a nice dinner with them last night over at Milo's.
Over at Milo's. Yeah. Skillings with another 3, following up Kuykendall's 2 threes. And 106 on the board for Baylor. Abdul-Gawad is fouled. I was talking to their longtime radio man, John Morris. As you see, there's Josie. She does an excellent job, along with David Kay.
David Kay is phenomenal as well.
Josie's checking her game notes.
They're already getting ready for the next game. That's what it is.
Terrific radio guys there. Pat Nunley. John Morris is the longtime play-by-play guy here. Been here over 30 years. And Pat Nunley has over 4 decades in. Talk about consistency on the broadcast.
Yeah.
But John Morris said he's looking forward to Abdul-Gawad and the opportunity. If he travels, he's got his line ready. You know what he's going to say?
What is it?
Walks like an Egyptian. Good one, John. Abdul-Gawad from Cairo, able to knock in the free throw. See, you know, when you're around long enough, you come up with creative stuff like that. Under a minute to go. And Foster Pavilion will get ready for a high-level women's game. And that one's good from Drew Perry. So Kuykendall with a couple of threes. Perry hits a 3. And those guys who put in all that effort on the practice squad able to get on the board. Everybody has scored who has played for Baylor tonight. And Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears are all smiles.
We talked about it. The offense has never been an issue for this Baylor team all season. And boy, they have put on a show. Mr. Perry, welcome to the scoreboard.
Perry was a big-time scorer in high school. He's had just 4 points in only 3 games played this year, so able to knock in a big 3. His parents are here. His parents are big factors here in this program. Locker room's named after him, so he's getting a chance to get some play in front of his folks. Tremendous. Abdul-Ghalib able to knock in another one as we get to the finish line. Baylor will take 8 days off before they come back to work here. They have 1 non-conference game remaining against Arlington Baptist on the 29th, and then Big 12 play starts on the road in Fort Worth against TCU January 3rd. And an embrace, Kevin Johnson and Scott Drew. And the horn sounds, and the Baylor Bears are 9-2.